been feeling blue. My money is too. Shawty act rude till she seen it too. I've been feeling blue.
What's up, everyone? Today is a great day. We have an amazing guest, David Shorenstein. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
David is such an important guest because not only is he so smart, he's just such a good guy, and he's a family guy. He's been in business for over 15 years.
Over 15 years.
15 years. He owns over 100 properties, right?
Just about.
Just about over 100 properties, based in Long Island, New York. Thanks for coming in today, David. Really appreciate it. So, want to get started. Want to talk about your life story, how you got into business, how you got into real estate. Tell me how you started.
Way I got started, I went to NYU Stern School of Business undergraduate, and I was a finance major. And I really, while I was there, figured out finance was something I really wasn't for me. I wanted to get more into a sales role, and then there was one real estate class at NYU, and the professor really got me interested. It was something I could understand, and then just started teaching myself about real estate brokerages and people making deals in New York City, and ended up getting my first job, getting paid $25,000 a year.
Wow.
And
in the city?
Yeah, in the city,
Oh,
$25,000 a year, and after a month I got fired and had no salary, and went right into the real estate brokerage world, which is something I really ultimately wanted to do, of selling buildings.
Wow.
Because I saw these people making deals, making money, and then ultimately had aspirations within 2 to 3 years of that of being the client, not necessarily being the broker.
That was always your goal when you were a broker, to be the end client?
That was always the goal. After I learned the brokerage and saw how much money the brokers are making, then I saw how much money the principals are really making. You know,
It's a different level.
A different level, obviously different sets of risks. And then, you know, at the time, tried to just figure it out. Same thing. Then started teaching myself about syndicating, reading books on syndicating, building real estate.
So you're personally developing yourself. You're teaching yourself all this stuff.
You know, when I was 23, 24, 25, a lot of it, you know, it's all self-taught, trial and error. Because if you don't have parents that are in the business, you're going to learn it from others, and you're going to learn it just by doing it. So literally started, you know, flipping contracts in the Bronx, learning how to sign contracts, flip contracts, buying a $90,000 building in Queens, you know, selling it for $210,000.
How quickly?
Within, you know, 6 months, a year.
How long ago was that?
2007. So we're talking like 16 years ago, flipping those contracts and, you know, putting partnerships together and buying buildings, trying to raise money from people, you know, doing that at a young age. The younger you start, the better off you are.
Did you lose a lot? Did you lose money in any deals in the beginning?
In the beginning, no, but later on, you know, you can't be 100 about 100.
You can't.
You can't go 100 for 100. If you're doing hundreds of deals like I have, I've probably done over 350 actual purchases of real estate and then businesses. You know, you're not going to hit on every one. You know, and there's a lot of things that are outside of your control. You know, you can't affect the interest rate environment. You can't affect, you know, laws changing, things that are just outside of control. And that's usually where, you know, people end up getting hurt. And there are plenty of books on that. You know, they're just black swan events, they're called.
Yeah, I mean, you were in the 2008, 2009, right, crisis when that happened. Did you own real estate then?
Not that much. I had a small portfolio of buildings in Lower East Side with the partner, and ultimately the partner, you know, it's a similar time to now where things are very slow. People, you know, thought they weren't going to get out of these buildings, or they were going to lose their buildings, and ultimately, you know, that one partnership ended and brought me into the next partnership. And usually you see that in these types of markets where things are very slow. People are thinking about their future. What are they going to do? Because they're not really doing anything.
They're more emotional at these times.
They're more emotional. You know, they see people, they read the articles, mostly negative things are happening. This is exactly what happened in 2007, 2008. No deals happening. very, very negative press going on out there. And this is where either, you know, people just pack it in, leave the business, or they start something new and exciting and they innovate, right? So kind of like what I've done now. Second time, been innovating, you know, through the businesses, working with you. So that's really what happens.
Yeah, I mean, 2008, 2009. So then after that, 2010 to 2015. When did you start Hildreth then? What
Hildreth started in 2018 after I sold my previous company, which I started in 2008.
What was that?
It was Silver Shore Properties.
Okay, so it was another similar type of...
Similar, but real estate focused, New York City, mostly Brooklyn. We kind of got to Brooklyn before it got overly gentrified and
you got there before.
Extremely competitive. I developed a system to find buildings directly from owners, so kind of like, you know, having your own brokers, in-house brokers calling, a lot of direct mail, which was a new way to contact owners. So we had, you know, we were doing 20 to 30 deals a year some years, you know, which was, we were, you know, in the Real Deal many times of being one of the most active buyers in New York City.
I saw that.
All different publications. And, you know, ultimately, the market didn't crash, but New York City started crashing in 2016. Most people don't realize the peak cycle of New York City was like 2016, 2017, and that's ultimately when we said, all right, we got to sell everything.
So timing was good.
Yeah, timing was good. You know, really got out of every single building out of that, and then started Hildreth in 2018. Basically started, I had 100 and something buildings down to like some buildings I owned by myself, like 8 buildings. So I went from 120
so you
down to 8, and now I'm back up to almost 100 again. So, you know, you go through these things, but most people would say, oh, you know, why don't you just retire? But that's just not my way. So 2018 started Hildreth. Really wanted to focus on non-rent regulated properties. Ended up coming back into Manhattan, buying a bunch of non-rent regulated properties. So I just can't help myself. Can't help myself, but non-rent regulated. Shopping centers, bought, you know, about 15 shopping centers. Also then did an Opportunity Zone fund in Riverhead, which we have 25 properties. So really just started doing different things, teaching myself different things.
Opportunity Zone fund, just for the audience, could you explain what that is?
So we started a number of them in Riverhead. Qualifies for Opportunity Zones where someone can invest and defer their taxes for a certain amount of years if you hold the property for a certain amount of years and you complete a certain amount of improvements. So it's really a tax play and a long-term play.
Yeah, it's smart. It's the right way to invest. But we'll get further into that later. So 2017, 18, you started Hildreth. Jason comes on with you right away, or Jason's his partner, who's a good friend of mine as well.
Yep, we started together 2018. Really, it started with us working with a couple families, helping them with their properties, because New York City, like I said, 2016, 17, city starts crumbling, right? And then we started branching out
to Long Island.
To Long Island, ultimately, and then I went back to Los Angeles, bought a bunch of buildings out there after I sold a bunch. Yep.
Really?
Because that's a whole nother thing. But started really with the shopping centers, then did the New York City fund, bought the buildings in Manhattan in COVID. Then we had COVID, which is a whole nother...
Wow.
a whole nother thing.
So you bought the buildings in Manhattan, and then COVID started, and then what happened then?
You know, making hundreds of phone calls to, you know, raise $20 million ultimately to buy a bunch of buildings at discounted prices in Manhattan. And then just finding new people to work with to buy shopping centers, and then ultimately buying, you know, we bought about 20 buildings in the Hamptons, commercial properties.
I saw that on Traded. You know, you were on Traded a lot in the Hamptons and Montauk and the city as well. I saw a couple of posts.
Yep. So, you know, we bought very actively buying, especially from 2018 to, I guess, 22 and a half before, this market that's been created with the interest rates have really slowed things down, and that's when I started getting more into what we do. Is, the laundromats, the car washes, and the marinas. Which are very, very hot right now. Or they've been hot. I kind of maybe a little bit late to the car wash game or a little bit late to the marina game, but there's still select opportunities out there.
And why do you think that? For the marina, I know the car wash, but the marina, why do you think they're recession-proof?
I don't know if they're exactly recession-proof, because what everyone would say when we were raising the $14 million to buy the marina in Montauk that we own, the first thing to go in a recession is your boat. Didn't see that at our marina, but there's only a finite amount of slips, especially in Long Island, because you can't build anything anywhere. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the investment theses. That's why it's a valuable business, especially if you buy it at the right price.
You can't build land.
The approvals take forever. So if you're buying at the right price, look, if we paid $20 million for our marina, maybe we'd have issues, right? But paid 14, it's probably worth 25 right now. And
it was a good buy.
It was a good buy. We knew it was a good buy, but it was, hundreds of phone calls to put the money together, hundreds of presentations, hundreds of phone calls, because not everyone understands the marinas. Not everyone wants to be in a marina. Not everyone. It's a long-term plan. Our plan is to build a brand of marinas, which we're about to do our second and third one. We owned one previously that we bought and sold.
That's a nice niche.
It's a niche. It's a niche. Jason, my partner, grew up in a boating family, really understands it. He gets a whole different side of it than I do.
Yeah.
And, for me, I know what we're paying per acre, eventually we hope to add value to these things. So I think what's a good one from a bad one. I mean, most of them are bad ones.
Yeah.
Because they're overpriced and not the right profile, or just the areas are not going to support.
Maybe the service isn't what the area calls for.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great business. I'm actually going to start looking for you in that business too.
I think it's great. There's only so few of them left that are mom and pop owned, and it's extremely competitive, and a lot of people want to get into it.
Yeah,
it's
and just going back to what you said, everyone thinks there's a lot of people that think it's hard, that things are hard, which it is difficult, but you got to put the work in. You said something before where you made hundreds of phone calls to raise that money. I mean, that's what this is about, right? Brokering, raising money, getting things done. It's a numbers game, right?
It's all a numbers game. It's a numbers game of looking at these properties, looking at these businesses, creating pipelines out of them, and then creating pipelines out of your investors. You always have to have just more and more pipeline coming in. Deal could die. You can't rely on one deal. That's why I say to the guys that work for me, you need to have 10 of these things. You're banking on one. That one could disappear tomorrow.
Yeah.
The seller just decides he's not doing it. Or
it's out of your control.
A lot of it's out of your control. So the only way you're going to control is to have significant pipeline. It's a very hard thing to do to raise money. That's why a lot of people just don't do it. They just say, I'm going to do it with my own money or my family's money, and that's great. Just don't have that luxury.
But you also need the right team too, right? You have the right. I feel like your team is really, you got guys in the office, Daniel, the other guy, Jason, yourself, and you got a good attorney as well. That's very on the ball with things.
Got to have good attorneys. I mean, this is all trial and error, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the contractor is not going to be good. You have to go on to the next. Sometimes the attorney is not good. You're going to go on to the next. I don't think anyone gets it right all the time.
You can't. But that's excellent. So, where are we? So there's the marina. There are the car washes that we didn't talk about yet that I'm involved with. And, I love that business because in Suffolk County, it's very difficult. You could, but it's extremely difficult to build a car wash. It will take you years just to get the permits. So could we talk about the philosophy of buying these things, adding value? What's your goal with this whole thing? Is it to take it public when you have enough properties under your belt? What's your end goal with Hildreth?
Well, I mean, we have these different businesses, right? You have the Opportunity Zone fund business. You have New York City as its own business. You have I guess the Hamptons property is its own business. Then you have the laundromats, then the car washes. So everyone's got its own. Everyone stands on its own, and my thing is put these groups of things together and then come up with some sort of exit strategy. I don't think we're in that market right now, but the car wash, that it's actually one car wash I bought and sold, so that kind of taught me about how to look at the numbers of the car wash. You sold the car wash, which was great, right? Yeah. You stuck through that. It was not an easy.
It wasn't easy. There was a lot of things out of our control. The lawyers.
A lot of things out of our control. You stuck with it. Took many, many, many months. You didn't give up, right? That's
not.
part of that's one of your strengths. A lot of people would have just been like, you know what, it's just not worth it. The seller, they could say we're too difficult, or the buyers are just not there, right? But you stuck through it. So that really taught me about the business. I didn't really know anything about car washes till one fell in our lap in a building that we bought. Well, it was smart. What I did was buy out the lease, right, and pay more than the private equity person was going to pay.
Yeah, very smart.
So, but then, just timing, luck, you found the one in Riverhead, which is in our backyard.
Yeah.
So we were looking to look more into car washes, and that's right in our wheelhouse, because we own a bunch of properties nearby.
It's a great location.
Our partner is down the street, and everyone knows that car wash. So the philosophy is you can never recreate that car wash ever again. Yeah. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And you can't build any car washes going further east or North Fork. So the value of that is just going to just keep going up. And the other hard part, why I never got into these businesses before, not finding someone to run it as almost a full-time job.
Yeah.
So with the laundries, we have a full-time.
So you just built a laundromat in Manhattan, right? That one?
Yep. So we bought a building in the East Village, completely renovated it, got 5-star reviews, and I wouldn't be able to do this unless I had the operator, right? So it was something I always wanted to get into. And a beautiful laundromat, mixed-use building. So we're going to be we'll have 5 of them in the next month or so.
5 laundromat businesses too.
Businesses, some with the real estate, some on very long-term leases.
Wow.
So we'll have 5 of those, and those are also very hard to come by, very hard to build. Some of them take years to build.
It's all about having the right manager in place for those, right?
Right, manager. Know where to buy the materials. So I think it's a high barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to renovate them.
Yeah, exactly. And areas that it's very hard to open up. You can't. There's apartment buildings there that there's no laundry there. You got to look into the future as well.
Right.
In the city, there's a lot of that.
City, there's a lot of it. I mean, there's only 200 laundromats below 96th Street at the end of the day.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of those are in buildings that probably wouldn't want to buy. The leases could be short. So once you start chipping away at ones that you don't want, you're only left with probably like 50 to 75 that we would really want to pursue.
So the lease, so you're looking at the business only in some cases?
Sometimes if we get a very, very long-term lease, I would say at least 15 years.
Okay.
And the rent has to be, not crazy.
We just got something that we're going to talk about after this. It's a new listing, a new laundromat.
Okay.
That's in the Bronx.
Okay, great. I saw you just sold one.
Yeah, we just sold one in the Bronx,
one we looked
too.
at. Yeah, with the building.
Yeah, with the
that
building,
was a good, I remember looking at that.
It sold for more than, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It's good. But, so you're in the car wash business, the laundromat business. I'm hearing about these REITs taking, you're not really a REIT, you're a holding company. I'm hearing about these holding companies and REITs taking these businesses public. I mean, that's not really the route. I was going to ask you, that's not really the route that you would be going to, right?
I mean, you could always explore it. I mean, we definitely have the teams to figure it out. But I think you need to hit a certain amount of revenue. I mean, the car washes, you probably know better than me. Like, if we have 5 car washes and the revenue is X, maybe that's a possibility.
I think the revenue for the car wash industry don't quote me, but it has to be around, the company has to be around $50 million in revenue.
Right.
50.
So we need about 15 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible because Right now we're in contract or in LOI for another one.
For another
with
2?
you for another 2, and then the other one. Yep, we're waiting. Yeah, so we get there. You know,
We're
it
gonna get
doesn't
there.
happen overnight. We just started
Absolutely.
in that one. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So social media, I see that, you're on all these different podcasts. Do you find social media important for your business?
I mean, I think social media is great. I've been trying for the last year or so to do more. I think putting out content like what you do is phenomenal. I think it all helps when you put the traded posts. I mean, just people know you. That's how I try to do it. The more deals I do, the more notice you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Just naturally.
Top of mind.
Yeah, top of mind.
And I went into your office and I saw that handwriting machine.
Yep.
So that's just on autopilot?
You feed the machine certain data of where you want to mail. And there was something I created years ago that people still talk about is writing the handwritten letters that look authentic to sellers of buildings, right?
Because they'll open them.
They'll open them. So I still do it, but I do it a much more targeted approach now. I'll pick, all right, we're doing the laundromats. And like I said, there's only 200 laundromats below 96th Street. So you could send out 200 the same people every month. But I was actually, and this pertains to you, talking to one of my investors the other day, and he actually sat down and wrote out 30 letters to car washes. And he got 5 responses out of 30. That hit rate is...
That's insane.
That's
insane.
Only car washes,
Yeah.
because he wants to be involved with us with the car washes.
Trying to step on my toes.
Yeah. Well, it all's going to flow back to you anyway. It's my brother's business partner, so it's all going to flow back to you anyway if there's a car wash. So I just was like, well, you know what? If you put in that really, really, really hard work, that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we have this robot letter writing machine that could pump out, 10,000 letters here and
That's
there.
done wonders for you, right? That machine.
Yes,
I'm
the
sure.
machine.
You've got deals from that machine.
Yes, I've definitely gotten deals from the machine, 100%. But it's only as good as your data.
Yeah.
So if you're putting in the hard work with the data and feeding the machine the right data, you're going to get deals. If it's crappy data that you just get off of Property Shark and you're mailing it to someone who doesn't get it, the machine's worthless.
It's worthless. You're wasting your time and you're wasting your resources.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's what I do too. We do mailers where we mail with confidential for owner only, the address, the name. We send it out, and just what your friend did. We have a buyer that's looking to buy your business. If you're interested, please give me a call. And the response rate is out of 100, we would get 5.
That's tremendous. It's a tremendous amount.
Yeah. A lot of people want to retire. A lot of people want to cash out. It's a great time to buy. You buy low and you sell high. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate you coming. Can you tell the audience where they can find you?
Calling is always the best. I guess I'm kind of old school in that way. Like I like texting, calling. Like I respond to everybody. I'm not that person says, oh, you can't get in touch with me. Email.
Your website?
D. Shorenstein at HildrethAdvisors.com. LinkedIn. I get so many random people messaging me.
I'm sure people will send deals through this podcast, and I hope I get a commission out of it. I'm just kidding. But thank you so much for coming. It was great learning from you. I learned from you on almost every call. Appreciate your friendship and the business relationship.
I really appreciate you teaching us about the car washes. We're all very excited about it. And I'm sure there'll be other things, more laundries, Marina maybe,
So much possibilities here. I also want to bring raising capital to the table for you as well. So
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.